Chapter 4 Bogbrush. Today's horoscope. New friends bring excitement into your life. Beware of yellow. How I managed to get any sleep, I don't know, but when I got up the next day, I began to realise that this was a problem I could not tackle on my own. I needed help, and the only place I could get help was from school. So before school started, I went round the playground talking to everyone from my class. "Psst, listen," I said. "We've got new neighbours, and they're creatures from the furthest reaches of space, and they're going to invade Earth. We've got to stop them. Will you help me?" "Oh, not again," most of them said. "Rob, you thought aliens were coming 6 months ago. Let's face it, Rob, the only strange creature living in your street is you." Others said, "Hey, great game. Can my friends play as well?" I told them it wasn't a game, and they looked at me sadly. "You mean you really think there's aliens living next to you?" Then they would sigh and walk off with their hands in their pockets. Some people just laughed straight off. Kevin Durbell threw his arms into the air and screamed, "Ah! Chicken Licken's being attacked by aliens! Run for your lives!" And he ran round the playground yelling and pulling stupid faces. I reckon Kevin Durbell's about as funny as poo on your shoe. As for everyone else, they seemed more interested in the fact that the school had been broken into overnight and all the computers and TVs had been nicked. "No TV to watch," they moaned, as if it was the end of the world. And all the time, I knew how the world really would end if they didn't help me. How many helpers do you think I got? How many brave warriors signed up to fight the aliens and save the world? None. I was going to have to fight them alone. That is how things stood until lunchtime. Then Bogbrush turned up. Bogbrush is not her real name, of course. Bogbrush's real name is Marsha, and that's partly how she got her name. You know, marsh, bog. They mean the same thing, don't they? So that when the other kids, Kevin Durbell mostly, heard that her name was Marsha, they used every bit of imagination in their tiny brains and came up with the Bogbrush. I mean, kids can be so inventive sometimes. You can probably tell that I get a bit fed up with nicknames. Chicken Licken doesn't exactly send me into ecstasies of delight. Anyhow, at lunchtime I was standing in the playground by myself, as usual. If I go and stand next to anybody, they usually move away pretty quickly, and I knew that today they all thought I'd gone off my trolley completely. When Bogbrush came wandering over and stood silently next to me. She was bigger than me, a whole head taller, and she's gangly and awkward and has long, thin arms and legs like sticks that she keeps tripping over. I don't suppose I'm giving you a very good impression of her, am I? I'm making her sound weird. But she is a bit like that, tall and thin, with vague eyes, and she's got this big mop of unruly hair, all curls. That's the brush bit, of course. Bogbrush. And there she was, offering her help. It was going to be me and Bogbrush against the mighty force of the aliens. My heart sank into my boots. My right-hand man was a woman. Well, a girl at any rate. "What are they like?" she asked, and my spirits gave a small leap. I have to say a small leap because, after all, she was a girl, and a rather weird one at that. Like me, Bogbrush is a bit of a loner. I remembered my horoscope. A new friend. Beware of yellow. The new friend had to be Marsha, and for the warning, that was so obvious. I think they've got yellow skin, but I haven't actually seen them properly yet. "How do you know they're extraterrestrials?" "Come back to my house this afternoon and you'll see why. Anyhow," she continued, "there won't be aliens. Those things always turn out to be hoaxes. People said they'd found an alien on the beach a few years ago. You know what it was. The dead, decaying body of a giant squid washed up at the bottom of the ocean." "My new neighbours are not giant squid," I muttered angrily. "And besides, they've got stellar markings on their throats." "Really?" Marsha seemed a fraction more interested. "The man and the woman have the same sign. It's a group of stars." Marsha sat down next to me and studied my face carefully. "Which group?" "How am I supposed to know that?" She paused, deep in thought. "It could be Upsilon and Andromedae. They've got a solar system." "You mean other planets?" "Yes. 3 planets have been discovered already, maybe more. Trouble is, Upsilon is 44 light years away from Earth." This was astonishing. I mean, Bogbrush was weird, but I had no idea that she was into astronomy. "They'd have to overcome light speed to get here, and that's supposed to be impossible." "Supposed to be," she repeated. "Although I have my own pet theory on that one." She frowned at her feet. "Why do you think there are only 4 of them?" I don't know. I suppose there could be more spread across other cities, right across the world, a network of aliens preparing. The skin on the back of my neck prickled. I was beginning to scare myself. Bugbrush glanced down at me and she gave a little sigh. You worry too much, she said. Suppose they come in peace. I shuffled my feet. Bugbrush had a point. It just didn't feel right, though. I was certain these aliens were a threat, perhaps the most evil threat that the Earth had ever faced. So why have you decided to help? I asked. I'm bored. Oh, great. That was so encouraging. My only ally had joined up through boredom. I took Bugbrush back to my house after school. Mum raised her eyebrows. It was lucky Dad wasn't there. He would certainly have something really witty like, "Got a girlfriend?" We went up to my bedroom, pulled a couple of chairs over to the window and stared at the house over the road. Nothing happened for a while. Mum bought us up some drinks and biscuits. Bugbrush began to wander around my room, poking her nose into everything. "You've got a computer," she said. 10 out of 10. She picked up my medical encyclopedia and began leafing through the section on first aid. Initially, have you ever wondered what happens in first aid if first aid doesn't work? Is there any such thing as second aid or third aid, or do the doctors and nurses just give up? I mean, it's a bit worrying, isn't it? After a few pages, she turned to me and said it was a little wonder I spent most of my time worrying. If you stopped reading stuff like this, you wouldn't fret so much. I like reading that stuff. Listen, do you know what to do if poisonous snakes bite you? No. There you are then. Rob, when did you last see any kind of snake round here? I couldn't answer that one. I was about to ask if she thought there was such thing as second aid when Norman suddenly appeared outside his house. Quick, look! Bugbrush gazed out the window. Her lips twisted into a curl. He is weird, she said, and I could have hugged her. I said I could have. I didn't say I did. At last, someone seemed to be thinking what I was thinking. And there's his mum, I pointed out. Look, you can see part of the mark. Spooky. Bugbrush stared hard. I'd like to get a closer look at that. I should be able to recognise it. Anyhow, I thought you said their skin was yellow. That's when they're in their alien state. At the moment, they're pretending to be humans. What do you think they'll be doing? When do you think they'll be ETs then? Tonight. I'm sure they slip into their alien condition at night. What do you think we should do? Bugbrush turned away from the window. I was hoping you'd have a plan. Not really. I suppose the first thing to do is prove that they are aliens, and there's only one way to do that. She sat down and fiddled with a pencil. We shall have to get into their house at night and take photos of them in their alien state. That will prove it to everyone. My heart had come to a complete stop. Into their house? Are you mad? We may as well ask them to kill us now. Oh, don't be so wet. It's not like we're going to knock on their door. We sneak in when they're asleep. This idea was pretty mind-blowing. I mean, normally when you make a new friend and ask them round to your house, you listen to music together or maybe play a game on the computer. Bugbrush was suggesting we sneak into somebody else's house in the middle of the night and take snapshots of them. It was fantastically exciting and horrifyingly scary. And it could just work. I nodded slowly. All right, we'll do it, as long as I have time to make my will before we go. Have you got a camera? No. Bugbrush! Why suggest it? Haven't you got one? Bugbrush lifted her chin, and those vague eyes of hers suddenly went into sharp focus. You call me Bugbrush, and I'll call you Chicken Licking, all right? How do you want to play this, Rob? Talk about turning red. I felt like a nude beetroot. Sorry, I muttered. I think my dad's got a camera downstairs. I'll see if I can find it. How do we get into their house? I smiled. This was the easy bit. I've got a key. The last people who lived there gave my parents a spare key so that Mum could feed their cat when they went away. We still got it. I don't think the locks had been changed. Marcia and I looked at each other. This plan was suddenly becoming a very real thing. We were going to do it. We were going to enter the alien stronghold, and I hadn't even decided what I wanted written on my gravestone. My heart started fluttering again, like a little bird between the cat's jaws. Okay, I said. Meet up by the bushes in our front garden at midnight, yeah? Marcia nodded. The colour had drained from her face. I asked her if she was scared, and she shook her head, her tight curls bouncing about her face. No way, she said quickly. At the door, she turned back to me. I'm petrified, she said, and vanished down the stairs. I was astonished. I had never realised that Marcia, had words like petrified in her vocabulary. I had to go and look it up in the dictionary. She was turning out to be a dark horse. Or a stone. I was left in my bedroom thinking. Suddenly, this whole business was turning into something real. I wasn't on my own anymore, worrying about alien invaders. Marcia was with me. We were really doing something. Scary stuff, eh?